Have you got some habits that you really would love to change, but it just seems like you're not able to? Stay tuned for today's episode because I'm going to tell you all about habits and how you can break those pesky habits. Stay tuned. I just noticed that I had a piece of hair sticking up on the camera. Having habits is actually a good thing. It's good to have a habit of brushing your teeth when you wake up in the morning. It's good to have a habit of making up your bed. It's good to have habits of locking your doors and a habit of switching up off the stove when you finish cooking. Those are all habits and the things that this is the way that the mind has been wired and designed in order for us to be safe and to also streamline life as well. So we sometimes, however, these habits can also be bad habits that we learn over the years and have incorporated over the years. And this can be habits like turning to food whenever we're sad or stressed or even excited. It could be a habit of after a meal you light up a cigarette. And when we want to change these habits, it sometimes feels like it is so hard to change the habit because I'm so used to lighting up a cigarette after I've had my meal or when I wake up first in the morning. It is so good to just have a cigarette. And this is where it's so important for us to realize once again that there is the conscious mind and there's the subconscious mind. And when these two are not working together, this is when we have conflict and we're struggling with some issues. Like the logical mind knows that it is not good for me to be consuming so much sugar because we've all heard those research that has said that sugar ages, sugar is bad for your immunity, everything else. So consciously we know that the sugar is not good in our diet, high sugar diet, or high fat diet, or whatever you're struggling with in which area it is. And then consciously we know this, but unconsciously we actually can't get out of that loop of, if it's in my house, I got to eat it. And therefore there's this conflict happening that, you want to try and you use sheer willpower to try and discipline to try and change these habits. And sometimes these works, and sometimes you have some changes that are happening, but many times actually you fall back into the old pathways and the old habits again because something happened and you turn to your old you turn back to your old habits, your old comfort zones that you have created as well subconsciously. So it is important for us to realize that in order to break these habits and change them around into something good, we need to remember how the mind works. The mind always wants to keep us safe and keeps us away from danger. And the mind likes the familiarity. It likes what's comfortable. It likes what's familiar. And so we need to actually get into the habit of knowing that we need to make what is unfamiliar familiar. We need to also be able to say that actually, I do not need that. So in other words, we need to actually reframe the mindset that we have and the beliefs that we have. But unfortunately, when we say things like, oh, I just love a piece of cake. It is so delicious and this is all I want. It makes me... So in order for us to change our habits and make lasting changes happening, we need to understand how the mind works. The mind, first of all, likes what is familiar. And the mind's duty and job is to protect us, to punish us, or to get our attention. Because the way that our primitive self was created is that it was very important for the mind to actually be hyper vigilant and be able to recall where is the danger, where is the good things, for our survival. And so in the same way that when you are enjoying a piece of cake, you get that dopamine rush, you get like, oh, it feels so good, everything. So the brain's duty and its role is in order to actually remember, where did I get that rush? When did it feel good? And that is also one of the ways that the mind is working in order to protect us and keep us safe. So when you logically understand this, when you consciously understand how the mind works, it actually helps you to gain power over it. Like on a subconscious level, because you understand it, you can apply these principles and then changes happen on a subconscious level, which means that you are able to gain a hold over your habit. And it's up to us to decide, you know what, this habit, what is it doing to me? How do I feel about this habit? And so it is really important for us to actually do some reflection and just to find out, listen, yeah, what it is that my mind is trying to do. And then when you know which one it is trying to do, then you can say, okay, how can I change this? So in a practical way, very important to realize that the words we say to ourselves and the pictures that we have in our mind, you're actually programming yourself, creating a belief. Like you might actually say, in a joking way, it doesn't have to be serious. Oh my God, if I don't have a piece of cake now, I'm going to die. Like on a subconscious level, the mind is like, oh, okay, she needs to have cake because this is really important for her. Or whenever you are stressed and, you just need to unwind and everything and, and you grab a cigarette, it's like, I've got to have a cigarette now because, you know what, I can't take this, I need a cigarette. And then you just light up a cigarette. So it's like all these words that you say to yourself, I can't do without a cigarette. I need my cigarette after I've had a meal. I love having a cigarette after a meal. Or you can just say, oh, I absolutely adore having this cake. If it's in my house, I've got to eat it. So you can see that how you've programmed yourself by the words that you say, and it's become so familiar that the subconscious mind has accepted it as fact and real. Remember, the subconscious mind, the mind does actually not know what is real and what is not real. So you can tell it anything and it will absolutely believe it as fact. And remember what I said about the rules of the mind. It's always a protect us, punish us, or to get our attention, right? So going forth to what we need to do to change this. So there's always three parts to a habit. It's the cue. In other words, what actually gives the impulse for you to grab that cigarette or grab that sweet treat. It's the habit that you have, the programming that you have, okay? That cue happened, that's a stressful situation just happened, I grab my cigarettes. And the third one is the reward. Like, how do you reward yourself? Like, do you get that hit from having a nice piece of cake, nice piece of chocolate that gives your dopamine levels high? Or, what is the reward when you actually taking a big drag in a cigarette? It just calms the whole nervous system down. It's a reward that you're receiving. So how are we able to change these habits then? You first look at what is your cue, what is actually causing you to actually do that in that situation. How can I change that? How can I change that? So in the evenings, say for instance you light up a cigarette in the evenings. So in the evenings after your dinner, instead of actually reaching out, just sitting down in front of the telly, reaching out that, why don't you do something different that you enjoy doing? Go and take a bath, go and brush your teeth. Same with food. Like at night when you get peckish and you just want to have and you're feeling lonely and depressed and everything, it is good for you to actually change that, break that. That routine and that cue that you have. The cue is after dinner, this is what I do. Or at night when everybody's gone to bed, this is what I do. I open the fridge and I go look inside the fridge. So just changing those things, like it means you need to have a little bit of a reflection and just looking at your situation and then say, okay, how can I change this? And then start changing your words that you're using. I can't emphasize how important it is that we change the words that we use and the thoughts that we think. So it's not just verbally, it's also the things that you think in your mind subconsciously. Like, oh my God, I need a piece of cake. Actually, you know what? You can't control your thoughts. Sometimes these thoughts just come. But when these thoughts come and say, oh, I need something now, I'm so stressed, I need to unwind and everything, then you need to actually say, yes, I am feeling stressed, but I can handle this. I have the tools to do something else. I can do something else. Instead of grabbing my cigarette, I can actually find somewhere where I can just sit and just breathe. Just take deep breaths and just calm myself, calm my nervous system. Instead of being in the kitchen at night, opening the fridge door, looking for something to snack on or a piece of cake to have or something sweet and sugary, I can change that routine that I have and actually do something else. Go to bed, for instance. Go and read a book. Go listen to a podcast. Or actually just going for a brisk walk. Just go distract yourself. And then when you're distracting yourself, you're actually breaking that routine that you have. And the reward would actually is the same way, because when you do something else, like for instance, just doing some breathing exercises instead of smoking a cigarette, looking at something beautiful, calling a friend, you also get that same reward in like, you know what, I actually feel really good. And actually, when you have overcome it once, you can say to yourself, you know, I've overcome it today. Actually, I went to bed without snacking. I didn't need to have that. And then tomorrow, you get up again. It is so important for us to realize that nothing happens overnight. You need to keep on working at it. You need to be consistent in changing your thoughts, changing your mindset about something. Because the thing is as well, another rule that actually the mind does not, another thing that the mind actually don't like is when you take something away, when you remove it, like when you lose it. Because in the mind, loss is a big deal. So a lot of times when you say, oh, I want to do some weight loss, oh, I need to eat less, those are all negative connotations, because you're actually removing something that the brain is like, oh, no, keep it safe, keep it familiar, and keep it comfortable. So it is really important to realize that the mind does not like those kind of words, because it's got a negative connotation to it. So we need to change the words that we use. So actually, I enjoy eating healthy foods. I actually love that I actually don't have a smoky breath. I love the fact that I can decide what I want to do, that I am not controlled by having a cigarette, that I can actually function without having cigarettes or without a substance, whatever it might be. So it's really important to boost yourself and be your own cheerleader, and actually encouraging yourself to actually do this, and you take it one day at a time. I will do another video about consistency, because I know some of you have been asking me to do a video about consistency. But for today, I just want you to look at what is your cues, what triggers you to do that habit. The second thing I want you to look at is, what is the program that you're running? What do you do? And the third thing that I need you to look at is, what reward am I getting from this? And once you've done that, I always give you a little bit of homework, don't I? So yes, so write down those 3 things and decide, okay, this is it. Then slowly, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, and 1 week at a time, you start implementing these changes. And you will see results. Actually, you'll see results pretty good, because, you know, as soon as your subconscious mind starts accepting these new suggestions, something being removed. Okay, so we need to realize that we need to incorporate and replace those things, those habits, with some positive things. So always remember that if I want to have way less. If I want to stop smoking, I need to replace that habit with something that I do want. So instead of grabbing your cigarettes at night, you go and do something else. So it means that you have replaced that habit, and slowly but surely you'll be phasing out the new habit, the old habit, because you know that actually you can get the same reward from doing something else that suits you more. Guys, please do like and share the video, and subscribe if you have not subscribed. I really hope this was helpful for you in a practical way, in a way that you can apply it. It's my intention that this is helpful for you. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.